It's the Andrew Christopher Show.
This is like a Flight of the Conchords kind of vibe on this song.
Someone else said that actually. Yeah.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
I dig it.
And I could see it for sure. That.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we really call it the AC Show.
Cheers.
Thanks for the
Call
coffee.
it the AC Show. It's the AC Show.
With Mr. Kyler Pierce.
All right.
Kyler J. Pierce.
Yeah, you should put the J in there if you like.
The third artist showcase and back-to-back artist showcase that I'm getting to do, which I think is kind of, I want to get into
Who was the
this
first? I
as a
missed the
niche.
first one.
Woody did one.
Oh, nice.
He came out.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, and played a couple tunes, and it was awesome actually. So do you officially go by Kyler J. Pierce or Kyler Pierce? Or? There's nothing official
there's
yet.
nothing official. Yeah, I mean, on my driver's license, it definitely says J on there.
And so
I figure.
Is it like the Simpsons
Yes,
J?
Homer J. Yes, it's exactly like that. It took me 30 years to find out that
figure
it was
out.
J.
And you moved a bush aside and
Yes.
saw the J
Yeah.
stood for J-A-Y.
And
It's J.
I feel very excited about being in the presence of another Simpsons fanatic today.
I know, right?
Because when you first pitched this, I imagined quite the unforgettable luncheon. I was
Oh, yeah.
thought maybe we'd be having some patented Skinner burgers or something.
Oh, I know. We could have set it up better. You said you got a gig tonight. You'll be
Got a
taking
gig
off too,
tonight,
but
yeah.
because there is the bed right there for next time
Yeah.
if we do get a bit crazy and have some burgers and some beers. So I before we got too much into this, as I was cleaning up the room, I had a great idea for a random game we could play.
Okay.
Because I found these 3 CDs.
Oh, here we go. Let me get that out of your way.
And they're the Big Shiny Tunes. I would guess they're the top 3 of the Big Shiny Tunes series because there's Big Shiny Tunes 1, 2, and 3. And I think those
Yeah.
are probably the best ones. So I'm just gonna give you one, and you got to pick your favorite track off of it.
Okay.
There's a lot of good ones on there, so I'll try and fill some time talking while you look them over. But here you go. Here's Big Shiny Tunes 1.
One. I identify the most with Big Shiny Tunes 2. I
Yes.
think that was my
Same
you
here.
know, that was kind of my jam.
Yeah.
As the kids call it.
So this one, there might be a few surprise tracks on there.
Yeah.
Hey?
Well, there's some really great tunes. I was a big No Doubt fan back in the day. And Sloan. Oh man. Sloan.
Right.
Sloan's on here. Okay, that would be mine.
Yeah, okay.
I
They're
think-
Canadian, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, and I'm Mother Earth. This is all great stuff on here.
It's so
Man.
good. I know when you start I haven't even looked at these in a few
Wow.
years. But
Limb Lifter. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
great. I'd say on this probably I'm going to go with The Good in Everyone.
Yeah.
Sloan. That's probably
that's cool.
That's-
Okay.
it's a great track.
And yeah, there's some good Canadian content on these.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's oh no, Matt Good's not on this one, but he made a few of them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's move on. Big Shiny Tunes 2, which you said, do you have a favorite already, or do you need to look?
I'm going to need to look. It's been
Yeah.
on over a decade since I listened to this. Man.
Yeah, at least.
Sugar Ray.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Actually, this might be this is a good one. Number 3 is, but check that one out first.
Man. Well, you know what? Walking on the Sun, Smash Mouth.
Cool.
Right?
Yeah, very cool tune. Yeah,
Oh, man. This brings me back.
I know. These are great, eh?
Chemical Brothers. Wow. Yeah. Big fan.
So we're going with the...
I'm going to go with Smash Mouth because
Yeah.
you know what? They're coming. They're making a comeback with the meme world now. So
Are they? Yeah, with the meme?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, I'll have to try and find one of those and
yeah.
put it up there. Okay, and then we'll finish it off. Big Shiny Tunes 3.
Big Shiny Tunes
I like the looks of this one, so
Okay.
you'll appreciate some of those too.
Oh wow.
Get
Yeah,
a Radiohead
fast-
tune on there.
wow.
There's Bare Naked Ladies.
Oh,
and
Beastie Boys
Matt
for
Good.
sure.
Beastie Boys. Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Are you a big fan?
I'm a big Beastie Boys fan.
Interesting. Yeah.
When Hello Nasty came out, I was like, well, I had License to Ill kicking around in my cassette collection.
Yeah.
And Hello Nasty was probably one of the first CDs that I managed to buy with, like random like mowing the lawn money or
Yeah,
something
finding
like that.
change in
But,
the couch.
yeah, and it's like, okay, you're gonna go buy this.
So there you go, you guys. The first edition of
Perfect.
Big Shiny Tunes game.
Okay, so that's going to be an ongoing thing now. I want
I
to
guess, yeah,
see
yeah.
what the other people choose now.
I know,
'cause,
yeah.
everybody identifies with those CDs.
I started off by always asking everyone their favorite songs of all time, but then I forgot to do that with like the last 4 guests. So I think I'll change it to this one now.
I like that
And
because
see,
it's kind of
yeah.
like going to a restaurant and there's actually like some choices rather
Yeah.
than just being like, hey, what am I going to make for dinner? And then you don't have no idea what you're doing, right?
Yeah, we got this. That's cool. Good game. Anyway, so I guess how we met, which I don't really know. It's kind of a friends of
Yeah.
a friends thing.
Yeah.
We kind of met online or like via text message.
Yeah, I think it was basically...
We had been chatting a bit before we
Yeah.
ever.
Before we
crossed
officially
paths.
met, I think we'd been tossing gigs back and forth for about a year and a half or so.
Yeah, because Kyler does a lot of solo shows or as a duo or a full band, just like I do, gigging around town at many different venues.
All over the map.
And so I think first you maybe helped me out on my
probably
Wednesday nights
filled
at the
out-
Miller.
Yeah.
Because you know Dylan very well, who plays drums with me and Kyler. And so Dylan said, oh, he's got this buddy to fill in. And so, yeah, we did a few of those. And we always just messaged back and forth when we couldn't do a gig to try and hook it up. And then
I think you helped me out of a few jams there. I remember coming back from being on the road with No Sinner and having, negative funds in my my
yeah.
account.
Yeah.
And the first thing I hear is, oh yeah, Andrew needs a sub. Do you want to? Dylan sent me a message and said, hey, can you fill in tonight at the Miller? And I'm like, I need the cash. Absolutely, I can.
yeah. Oh, it's perfect. So yeah, that's kind of how we know each other. But if you could give us a bit of backstory on your kind of musical journey, or even growing up as a kid through school, and how you got into music, and your first bands and that kind of thing. If
Yeah.
you want to take it away, I'll give you.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a long just kind of trudging through the mud of playing kind of story.
Yeah.
I grew up being surrounded by music. So my grandfather was a professional musician for a lot of his life. By the time I was born, he had been, doing auto body work and everything, but the band was all still going all the time. So he
cool.
had a family band. So my dad was in the band, my uncles were in the band. It was a country show band essentially, right?
Oh yeah, nice.
So it'd be weird stuff where, guys playing each other's fiddles and really hot musicians up on stage, like just
Nice.
killer players. So I kind of grew up immersed in that, pushing road cases around and, climbing up on speakers and
Really?
stuff like that. Just like being a kid surrounded by these gigs where, the PA is the size of this room, right?
Yeah.
It barely has any power. So you got all this stuff to climb on and play around with and,
Very cool.
set you up with the lights and everything. But so I've been immersed in it forever. And growing up, I was never really pushed into doing music, but it came to a point where there was a guitar hanging out at the house, and I figured, this would be cool to just kind of mess around and play and see if I can do something with it. And then it clicked, and I just caught on to that. I wasn't really, I kind of gave up sports and all that kind of stuff for just teaching myself music because it was just so fun. And then through that, I guess the next step of that was in high school. Brandon Clark and Shane Clark, the guys I play with now, we all got together and started just kind of teaching each other to play, just jamming along, learning songs, having fun. And we did that for a couple of years, getting together every Sunday.
This is in Abbotsford, right? You grew
In
up?
Abbotsford, yeah. So
What school did you go to there?
Yale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah. So all of us were pretty tight knit already. We grew up together in the same neighborhood and everything. So from there, we all just started playing, jamming, not really doing anything. And then we started setting up shows in high school with other bands in town. And it just kind of steamrolled from there to just constantly setting up shows and not really looking back and not really having a plan, just kind of having fun and playing.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings me to that was the evolution of Harma White. That was how we
So Harma
became
White
a
was your
band.
first band.
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's like the first group of guys I started playing with, and
that
we're
was,
still playing
you
together.
say grade 10?
Yeah, it's been it's been almost 15 years now.
That's unreal, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that was grade 10 was by the time, we'd kind of started doing the Sunday jams at
Cool.
my place
Yeah.
sort of thing and at Brandon's place. After, I think it was probably grade 12 or so, we set up our first show.
Yeah.
So that would have been, 2006?
How old are you now? You're
I'm 31.
31?
31.
Yeah, okay. So we're the same age. I wonder if we ever crossed paths. I didn't do that many shows with my original band back in high school. But we did a couple with, I know, some random other local bands, but I don't have the greatest memory. But
I remember seeing your guys' names plastered around, seeing them part of my striptease stuff, in the later years. And all that. But what was the first band?
There
What
was one
the-
before that. We were called Argyle. And
Argyle,
it was a bunch
okay.
of guys from high school,
Yeah.
but from Agassiz.
Okay.
And we did a couple I don't know if we ever did an Abbotsford show. We did a couple in Chilliwack, and then we did the roller rink that was out in, was it Richmond? Called
Okay.
Stardust or something.
Okay.
It was a roller rink, and we set up there and played. But yeah, those are good times. Looking
Right
back on those, eh?
Yeah,
It's
those
so
are the
cool.
formative years of your playing, right?
Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
you really kind of realize why you're doing it, or you're so innocent that you don't, you can't be jaded about the music world and
Yeah.
what could come and what could bring you down. And
That's right.
everything
You
like
don't
that.
really
So
know about the industry.
yeah, you don't
or
really,
the man.
and you don't really care at that stage, right?
exactly.
You're just kind of
Yeah.
like, let's have some fun playing, and
Yeah.
is if you kind of keep a little bit of that pure innocence within yourself. I find that helps me get through a lot of the
Totally.
the BS of playing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get caught up in some pretty bad situations.
Well, it is, and fast forward a bit to kind of what we're doing now. When you're slugging it out at a pub or whatever, doing these cover gigs, and sometimes it is a bit disheartening, right?
Yeah.
If
Can
there's
be. I mean,
a group of 10 or 12 guys who come to the pub just to drink and be loud,
yeah,
are sitting right in front of you and
Yeah.
not listening to a word you say, and it's I get it sometimes anyways, but you just gotta move on. Then
Yeah,
then you
it is
kind
what
of
it
just
is.
treat it like a job. You got to do your job, make your money, go
yeah.
home.
I mean, if you find something that you can learn from every gig,
Yeah.
or if you focus your energy on like a particular thing, like
Yeah.
I didn't hit this break from my falsetto to my head
Yeah.
voice or whatever it is, like maybe I'll try to nail it this time. And you find these little things, and then you can always take something from a gig, even
Yeah.
if it's like you slugging it out and somebody's screaming Freebird from the back, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean, and I feel like then it's a good time, if no one's really paying attention to you, then you kind of take it more inward and focus on getting better yourself.
Yeah.
Like you said, focus
Yeah.
on what you could be doing better or playing better or trying new things maybe or whatever. Yeah, instead of strictly connecting
Yeah.
with the audience and putting it out that way. But yeah, anyway, so back to kind of Harma White stuff. I do have a track loaded up here
Okay.
from your first band. So I picked Whiskey and
Oh,
Gasoline.
cool. That was a little later in our recording
Is it?
process.
Yeah.
So we put out an EP called Reptile.
Yeah. I did
way
listen to
back
those
in
too.
The days. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we recorded all of that stuff ourselves, just in the basement and kind
Yeah.
of thing, just all scattered all over. And then what we did after that was we had been playing shows. We'd probably played a few hundred shows, been together for a few years, kind of thing. And then we decided to drop a few bucks and go into a studio, cut everything live off the floor.
Nice.
And we did this track, a couple other tracks, and then a cover as well to enter to some sort of radio like cover contest. I can't remember what the station was, but they were
Yeah.
doing like you submit a cover of a song and they might play it and whatever. I don't even know what the prize was or if there was a
Yeah.
prize, but it was just kind of one of those, hey, it's a good excuse to go in and hit record when we've been gigging every week for the last like 5 or 6 years.
Right.
So, you feel kind of at the top of your game. There's no lull. There's no like, well, we're off our game. You've been playing that much. We might as well hit record and see what happens. So that's kind of where this one came from.
So this was live off the
This is
floor.
all live off the floor, yeah.
You doing the guitars
Guitar and vocals.
and
Yeah.
vocals.
So it was me, Brandon Clark on bass, Shane Clark on drums, and James Dobie on keyboards. So,
yeah, the organ or whatever
Yeah.
that comes in is so good. James is fantastic. But, okay, so check this one out. Whiskey and Gasoline by Harma White. And that's Whiskey and Gasoline by Harma White here on Classic AC Radio. It's a new thing I do as
You
well.
got the radio voice. I like it.
Man, that song fucking slaps. It is so cool. Yeah, as you said, just live off the floor. Like it's so some of the little runs that you guys do and the different timing is so
Yeah,
fucking
it's fun.
You
It's
guys
like,
are good players.
Oh, thanks. Man.
And I'm like, I have not seen you guys live yet. I've only seen little clips and videos or whatever, and then
weird.
listening to these songs, and I'm like, fuck, I've been missing out. I texted you that.
I know. We've both been playing on the circuit for so long. And
We
then
never get to see
never
each
get
other.
to see each
right?
other play.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
You're not missing much on my end, except the Big Shiny Tune stuff. You know,
I
that,
gotta see
but-
that, man. I gotta see that.
But yeah, that's such a killer song. I remember I'd message you and I was like, I can't believe I haven't listened to this music until now, and it's been out for so long, and because I love it. It's just really groovy stuff, right? And-
We're terrible at promotion too. We just
I
kinda,
guess,
we
yeah.
just kind of put stuff out there and tell people like, hey, you should go check it out, and like,
And
it's
then
usually
that's
word
it.
of mouth, right?
Yeah.
And then that's about as far as we go.
And I mean, it's because you guys do it, like you said, for the love of the music and
Yeah.
loving these songs and the way you're writing them and that. And then once you get it there, you're happy.
Yeah, I mean,
you've done it.
there's no like
You can share it with
there's
your
no
closest friends.
big huge dreams of getting this stuff on radio or anything. It's
Yeah.
just let's just make music and have fun. And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of that side of things that a lot of artists I know today, because I still see so much of it happen. They miss this. They miss that mark. They miss the reason why they're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe the reason is different. You know what I mean? I can't say, but
Well, it is because, there has to be kind of two sides to that coin, because some artists are driven just to get on the radio and get those big hits.
Absolutely, yeah.
And because if that's your dream, then yeah, you do have to follow certain ways that's the easiest way to do it. Some stuff like this could get you famous, for lack of a better term, but if you're looking to get that big record deal or to get the attention of the pop industry,
exactly.
Maybe it is a good idea to go about it that way, right? More popular produced songs, and then once you get there, you get that record deal, you make some money, and then you can start writing your own and producing it a bit more your way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's tough because you never want to
You never want to lose yourself in it, right? Like,
no,
that's it. Yeah.
but you also never want to pigeonhole someone and say you're doing this wrong. Don't write
Yeah,
this song
no,
this
totally.
way because you're losing
Yeah.
yourself, or don't write it that way because you're it's too true to yourself, and you got to give and take a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It's tough, and it's all just comes down to personal choice, I think, right?
Totally.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, you took a trip to Ireland touring with a band, right?
We did Europe, so we ended up
All of Europe,
driving
or
through
a
like
lot of Europe?
Yeah, we ended up driving through somewhere in the neighborhood like 15 different countries. We played in about 11 of them.
How long ago was this?
This was 2016.
Frick.
Yeah, 2016.
That's crazy, man.
We were gone for a month, so we were gone for the month of October, and with a band called No Sinner, which I was just telling Andrew. That song was actually just totally inspired by this song by No Sinner called Mandy Lynn, and I was just obsessed with it. I'm like, I gotta
You were
write something.
fans of this band
Yes, it was my
before you went out
favorite
with
band
them.
in Vancouver, right? Like my favorite band that I could go see on
Yeah.
a weekend kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And so we'd make trips out, and then eventually Brandon got picked up filling in on bass for a tour, and they went down in the States, and
Okay.
they went to Europe and did that, and then came back, and I think there was, people were doing doing things, doing different records and whatever. So her band kind of, everybody had different notions of what they wanted to do.
It was
So
a
they-
female fronted
yes,
band. Yeah.
Colleen Renison, she's incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a call in whatever that was, April or something like that, 2016. Hey, we're looking for a guitar player. Brandon said, you'd be down. Do you want to do
Yeah.
it? I'm like, yeah, cool. That sounds great. She's like, yeah, we got a couple of gigs lined up. Going to go across Canada. Well, we were going to Manitoba to play Minnedosa Fest with Our Lady Peace and
Nice.
and some stuff, some like really cool bands there. So we went and did that and came back. And then about a month later or so, 2 months later, we ended up flying over across the pond and playing Europe. And yeah,
yeah.
we went through Spain and Italy, Germany. We played in Norway, and played in the Netherlands.
What was your favorite country
Oh, I mean, it was
or favorite gig? Do you have like a
yeah.
favorite gig of the tour?
Yeah, we played
Show, I should
So when we flew into Norway, it was a crazy gig. So we flew in. Brandon couldn't find his passport, so we were already delayed. Luckily, he found it. We had already, gave him hugs goodbye, being like, "Sorry, dude, we'll see you later," kind of thing, right? And he found his passport super last minute. We get on the flights. The flights are all delayed. And then we get into Norway. Our gear doesn't show up. Our gear shows up literally 5 minutes before we get on stage. So we're stressing the whole time we're there.
Yeah.
And then, so then we play our set. And after getting off stage there, Colleen comes up to me and she says, "Hey, so we're doing a solo acoustic stuff of my material." And I'm like, "Oh no, I haven't played this stuff it's probably been like 6 months since I've done this stuff with you." So I had to, just crash course myself on a bunch of different songs. But anyways, we got up in the morning and we played this little, it was in this beautiful old-fashioned hotel in Norway. It's called the Gloppen Hotel, I think it was.
Huh.
And it was just so cool. We played in a little like breakfast nook, like where they'd serve brunch, and like very Victorian sort of looking hotel. Very cool. And it was all seated, small PA. It was just me and her acoustic guitar and her vocals. And we were running through the songs before we got up on stage, and just playing through. Some of her songs are very super personal songs. So she's starting to well up. It's getting a little, a little too personal. And she starts crying when we're rehearsing. She's like, "I don't want to do this one. It's just too much, right? Too much." So, and I just said, "No, we're doing it. And we're going to do it last, because we're going to get everybody in this room feeling that vibe." Because it had me like almost crying, right? Like, and so then we were playing through the set, and sure enough, last song comes. We start playing, and she's just like tears just running down her face while she's playing. Same for me. The entire room is just like quiet, other than sniffles, because people are just crying with us while we're playing.
What was the song about?
It's this song. I believe it was the song "We're Getting Married" is what it's called. It's one of Colleen's originals for her solo material, and it's just a very like touching, like heartbreak sort of song.
Yeah, okay.
Like it's really, really sad, really personal, and it was incredible though, just having a room just totally involved in every aspect of the song. And then and that was probably, in terms of the highlight of like the connection with the audience, that was it. There was many killer.
And what was the biggest party?
Oh, the biggest party. That whole tour was a party, man. It was wild.
I bet.
We were
I'm so jealous.
We were just, we'd be driving to a venue with a couple cases of beer in the back, and it was chaos. But there were some really cool places we played. So we played King Tut's Wawa Hut in Glasgow, which is a super famous like venue that just has so many incredible artists that have played there, like up and coming artists that now are chart topping, festival sellouts, just massive bands. They've had like Hozier and Radiohead and like just you name it, they've had them through there. There was that was a really great show. There was a few really great ones, Germany, and we played a few dates there, and our first show in Barcelona was really cool. But overall, it was an incredible experience, and it really taught us all how not to go on the road as well.
Yeah, of course.
Which is, your first time out, you don't really...
Well, and that's a big, that's not just driving to Alberta and back for a tour. It's like you said, flying everywhere. Your gear's flying everywhere. You got to deal with all the rentals and accommodations.
It was a lot.
Crazy. It
was a lot. And props to Colleen for taking on so much of that organization and everything. And, our job was to make sure we played and did justice to the music, but also kept the vibe good. Made sure everybody wasn't. You get a little bit of cabin fever when you're trapped in a van with the same people for that long, and and there's no real downtime. People seem to glamorize being on the road, but really, when it comes down to it, you see a lot of gas stations, a lot of highways, and a lot of green rooms. So when you make some time. When you have a little bit of time, you got to make the best of it and, go see the sights, go check out a few things just to kind of reset and realize where you are. Because otherwise, you're just going to think you've been in a van for a month, right?
Yeah. Man, that's a pretty cool experience, though. That's, once in a lifetime thing, hey, for sure. So that was No Sinner. Are they still active playing?
Colleen is still playing.
Yeah.
Actually, we're gonna hang out and make some music. I had her in the studio a little while ago, and
Cool.
we were just hanging out and sussing through some ideas. But yeah, so everybody there is still musically active.
Yeah.
In terms of that group, No Sinner is Colleen. Like, she is the heart and soul of that. She's got some key songwriters that are incredible musicians that she works with that are all doing their own solo things now as well and playing with other groups. So, you know, you can only hold people down into one project for so long before they have to move on and do their own thing. So
Right.
I know Colleen's still active. I know, you know, one of her songwriting friends and a friend of mine, Parker Bosley, is doing his solo thing. Eric Campbell is doing his thing. So we were just kind of like a hired band. We created a band around her and played the songs that we actually hadn't been on the recordings or written. Brandon was the only one who'd been on a few of the tracks there.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was a great experience because I really like that side of things. I think that's more of where my heart lies, is being able to come in with an artist and say like, hey, I can play these, I can give you some ideas, but let's roll with your creative flow and just, you know, I can try to supplement that, try to add, you know, not take away from the song and overdo it and let my ego get in the way. I want to do the song justice, and that's my favorite part. So,
and so, because kind of moving on, well, Harma White's still going on, but towards more recent stuff, you have so you're running your own studio out of Abbotsford.
Yep.
Is it actually called Moving Day Studios?
That's what I've been calling it.
It's just,
it was one of those things.
nothing
where
official.
I was moving my studio from one spot to another, and I thought, wow, moving day sucks, and that was like my tagline. Like, I'm just gonna call it Moving Day because moving day sucks, man.
Yeah. And so you've been working with a lot of local artists, recording a few different bands and projects.
I had my buddy Ben Cottrell in there,
Yeah.
who recently was on The Launch.
That's right.
So good on him. His songs, the songs that we cut in my basement, you know, are up to 100,000 streams, which is really
So
great.
good, man. Yeah, that's good for your resume.
Got my buddy Kellen Sipe in there right now. We're just finishing up his record, and then lots of different singles. I just finished Dear One's EP. They're a band out of Langley. So just kind of working with friends that see the same sort of vision of their songs as I might, or they might seek me out to say, hey, we like the sound of this. Can you put some of that vibe into, like, sprinkle a little bit of vibe?
So you're producing some of it as well. Most of it, like most of the people coming, are you taking a production role on as well? Or?
Yeah, pretty well all of it. I like to have a bit of stamp of my, not
Your
necessarily
sound,
like say like I'm gonna take your song and stamp my sound all over it or whatever, but I like to take the bones of a song because I find people get a little too close, myself included. Which is why I seek out outside producers when I am working on new stuff. But you can get a little too close to your own songs. You can get kind of hung up in that world of, oh, this isn't good enough or whatever, when it is, you know. So it's just nice to have another set of ears. And my job as the producer and the, you know, recording engineer, whatever title you want to slap on it, it's basically like a photographer. I see it. You know, you're documenting a specific time and place. You're capturing a moment, and there has to be some, you know, you're capturing the moment when the magic happens. And so my job as a producer, I find, is to just facilitate that. Like, take all the variables out that would hinder somebody creating that magic moment, right? Because realistically, the artists, they know what they're trying to do. They have an idea in their head. They have songs, great songs, and I just want to make sure that gets to the public, you know?
Yeah, and it is. It's not a job everyone can do, or it's a job I think everyone could do, but to do it well, there is certain people who can take that song and produce it, you know, to actually help make it better without writing the song themselves, which is, I think, where a lot of people get lost between the songwriting and producing, and how they're different and how they're similar. But it takes a really good ear to do that, and it takes a certain type of person to build a connection with an artist, so they trust the production of it.
Trust is so crucial. Like, you have to have people that trust that their song, their creation, their baby.
That you're not doing it for yourself.
Yes, exactly.
You're doing this for them.
For them and for
Yeah.
the song. It's not even necessarily for them. It's for that song. It's for what they've
Yeah.
created.
Yeah.
So yeah, the trust thing is crucial. That is the
Mm-hmm.
biggest, the most important step in terms of getting to work with an artist. It's just creating that level of, hey, we really appreciate what you want to do with the song, and we want to work with you because we trust you under the care of this. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So along with this, so you quit your job at Long and McQuaid.
I'm not there anymore.
You've been just recording music and playing music full time for a year now.
Almost a year now. Yeah,
Almost a year
Yeah.
now. And when did so then you put out some solo music?
Yeah.
A solo project. And when did the EP come out? That was
That was
couple of years ago now?
A year and a half ago now.
Year and a
something
half?
like that. Yeah, about
Yeah.
a year and a half ago.
you recorded it yourself?
I did record that myself. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was doing that. I did that just before I did Ben Cottrell's record. So I think we were chatting because he had heard what I just put out, and he's like, I like the sounds of this, and I know
Yeah.
you're a local guy, and we had kind of crossed paths a few times, and that was the spawn of that. But yeah, so I recorded all this stuff. We had Dylan playing on drums,
Yeah.
we had Brandon playing on bass, James Stobie playing on keyboard. So it's the usual suspects.
Yeah. But more of your specific direction.
It was my songs that I'd written, and I knew what I wanted to do with them. It was kind of one of those autobiographical sort of moments where you're like, hey, I got songs that I've written that mean something to me. They were in a really hard point in my life where I was, I'd kind of taken a turn for the worse in terms of drinking and whatever. So it's called The Withdrawal, the EP, and I literally recorded it while I was like withdrawn from drinking every day for the past year and a half. Like just.
Because you were close to kind of going off the deep end.
Oh,
Is what you were feeling,
that
right?
was
And-
how I was feeling. That's how my health was taking a turn. My relationships, my lifestyle, everything was kind of going on this big slump. And I'd written these songs kind of in that haze. And then while I was like, basically my reasoning for doing the recordings was it was a good excuse for me to step outside of that party world and like find how to say what I was trying to say with the songs, and lock myself in the basement for 3 weeks or whatever, working on these tracks, and not see everybody so I could stay clean and sober.
That's unreal, man. And good on you for being able to just go freaking cold turkey like that.
There's a lot of shakes. There's a lot of shakes in that record too.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, well, we'll play one here. My favorite, or what are you gonna play live? Is it one of these, or is it a different one?
I got some new tracks I've been.
Okay, yeah, do one of those. So, I'd like to play Alcohol.
Okay,
tune
yeah,
off this one,
perfect.
if that's cool.
Yep.
And I forgot to mention this before, but for those of you out here, if you can hear me, we're playing these songs in their entirety because just the other day I had thought about this, and I was like, people need to fucking sit down, stop what they're doing, and actually listen to these songs. Like we appreciate, as artists, we appreciate everyone who is checking out our stuff, but you're never going to get the full effect if you just listen to a clip on YouTube or on iTunes or whatever. Like, guys like us, we write these songs, and people like you who are watching, I know you write your songs or you do your projects, whatever it is you do. Not for people just to check out a little bit of it and pass judgment, but put some time aside, really listen to these tunes and think about what the artist was maybe going through, or think about the intentions there, or just listen to the incredible musicality of the playing and stuff. So listen to the whole fucking song. Here it is.
From the beginning of October, I was anything but sober. Packing light, learning to sleep alone. And I rang you once or twice. This broken heart's as cold as ice. But you're never there to pick up the telephone. And I will call your name when alcohol hits my brain.
if I start to fall again, well, I hope you never hurt me at all. Now the life that I can't stand is of the lonely-hearted man, but there's nothing here that can't be left behind. And the life I've been living down is probably why you don't come around. But I call to say that you've been on my mind, and I will call your name when alcohol hits my brain and my heart. And if I start to fall again, well, I hope you never hurt me at all. Waiting on and on, I know I left this far too long, and now you sit 1,000 miles away, and you won't feel a thing even when I start to sing of all the things I called you up to say. And I will call your name when alcohol hits my brain and my heart. And if I start to fall again, well, I hope you never hurt me at all. And I will call your name when alcohol hits my brain and my heart. And if I start to fall again, well, I hope you never hurt me at all.
So fucking good, man. That's the thing I love about music is, and like I just love listening to music. And like I said, actually listening and paying attention. I know it's different for you because it's your song, but from an outsider, just taking and thinking about the emotion of it. Like the emotion of music is unreal.
Yeah.
Like you can feel so many different parts in songs that create such an emotional impact, and you can feel the hurt or you can feel the joy or whatever. And I had noted about when the electric guitar comes in like more distorted or whatever for the solo, and that was one of the parts I was like, ooh, it just like sliced right into your heart. And then that outro, it's incredible, man, to think about what you were going through at that time, literally going through withdrawal from drinking for a year and a half straight, and to get a product like that is really commendable, man. Well done.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it's an emotional journey, and that's why what music is for us, right? Like if you create it, you use it as your tool to cope or to express a feeling, and like that's. I'm sure everybody has their own different way of doing that. Some people may do that with either, drugs or alcohol, or some people may be like, I want to go outside and hike, or I'm going to go to the gym and punch it out on a bag. Like people have their different outlets. But music is one of those things that it's everywhere, right? Like you can't hop in your car or go to the mall or whatever. Like it's everywhere. So, when those songs happen that have that sort of feeling, like you may latch onto it because it may strike some chord of like, hey, I've gone through that, or hey, I know what this guy's feeling, or whatever, and then you associate a specific time or moment in your life with it, right? It's very cool. It's an odd thing, music.
So the other couple tracks on that EP, you can check them out on Spotify or Apple Music, anywhere there, right? The other two are great as well. Have you been to Barcelona? Yes, you have.
Yeah, that was our
tour. Because that was a question I had, and then because I thought you just toured around Ireland. I didn't know it was all of Europe.
No, we actually only played one date in Ireland. We were in Ireland for a little while, hanging out. It's gorgeous over there.
Yeah, because one of the tunes on the EP is called Barcelona. Yes, and yes, you have been there.
So Barcelona was our first stop. So we had I think we had, I don't know, 8 or 9 days or something like that off before we started the tour. But we flew over, and it was just cheaper for us to fly in early and get a Airbnb just outside of Barcelona in a little place called Badalona, a little beach town kind of thing. Very like locals only sort of thing, right? Like very much we were out of place. But spending all that time in there, I made some friends while I was there, just kind of ducking away from the band and exploring the city. Made some friends over there, and that's kind of what that tune's about. It's a really neat one. Like, hey, like me. The funny thing is, everywhere we went, me and Harry, the keyboard player in No Sinner, we would just be like, oh man, this place is beautiful. We're like, let's not go home. Let's stay. Like, let's never leave this place. I don't want to leave it. And then that was kind of like the hook for me in Barcelona, was like, never going to leave you, right? Like,
Well, go check that one out wherever you listen to your music. In terms of songwriting for yourself, do you find it easier or harder to write happy versus sad songs, for lack of a better term? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's tough. I do find myself tend to leaning into more of the emotion of like a sadder song typically. I think that's I'm not going to say I haven't written a bunch of happy tongue-in-cheek songs as well, but they don't seem to have the same effect, in terms of my connection to them.
I think it's the emotion. It's so much easier to portray a sad or a heartbreak emotion
because they're honest
than it is happy, right? Because I don't know, it's weird, but because I find that as well, it is easier to sometimes connect
I'd be
with those
shit
emotions.
at writing kid songs. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
happy pop song or whatever. But then because it's not just happy versus sad.
No,
because like the Harma White stuff, it's not happy all the time or whatever,
No,
or like that one. But it's not
tunes.
it's not a sad song.
No.
Except for that sucking the balls of the serpent that blinded me.
Yeah, that's our way of getting around copyright issues for doing somebody else's song.
Anyway, that's really cool, man. It's you've written some amazing songs. So if you want to check out more of Kyler's stuff, the Bandcamp is best for Harma White tunes, right?
All of our stuff's up there for free. You can just download it or listen to it on your own accord.
And then some of your solo stuff, you said you're close to releasing even more?
Yeah, I've got 3 songs in the bag right now that I'm just waiting to get the finalized sort of stuff sorted with that. So there'll be some new music coming out in the next little while. It's been a long time coming. I know I've been slacking on that, but it's for working on other people's stuff, right?
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
But I got some new stuff coming out. Hopefully drop a single before summer's done here, and then the rest of them will follow shortly thereafter. So
yeah. And where do you like to connect best if someone was looking to record some tunes or wanted to check out the studio? Instagram or email
Instagram,
or whatever?
My website is just kylerpierce.com.
Okay, cool.
I got all the stuff on there. However you want to, you could probably get my number from somebody right?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, could probably figure that out. One random non-music question I had no idea why it popped into my head. But so you said you did used to play some sports as a kid?
Yeah, I wasn't
Little
like
bit.
I wasn't like a competitive sports kid, and I think
Yeah.
that's why I gave it up.
And-
It was skateboarding was my jam.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And you're not a huge sports fan per se of.
I can't say that I ever have been, and it's
Yeah.
solely because I just can't find the time
Yeah.
to sit down and watch sports. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I always liked going out and playing soccer and kicking a ball around with the friends, and
Yeah.
you know, like I used to make sure I'd go on runs and all that kind of stuff. But now I just can't seem to find the time. So
you're
the
a busy guy, yeah.
only outdoor activity I get is walking my dog, Waylon.
Wayland. Yeah. So, but if there was like one of these major sporting events in the world, like we'll say like Super Bowl or the World Series or Stanley Cup Final or the World Cup, if you got to pick one event, sporting event you could go to, what would it be?
Oh man, that's tough. Honestly, I really dig watching the Winter Olympics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
whenever that
Yeah.
comes on, I try to catch, like the what's the
And they were just here.
the skeleton.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Okay.
it's just so dangerous.
Yeah.
It like makes the hair on my arms just raise. Just
I just
watching
feel like
them.
those guys are gonna get their heads chopped off. Or
No,
whatever.
I know. It's like literally rolling the dice if you're gonna live or not, and it's scary to watch, and I think that's why I watch. It's kind of like the Colosseum in Rome, right?
Winter Olympics. That's a good answer because that's like everything. You could go see hockey.
Yeah.
You could go see snowboarding. Or,
I mean, that's a super broad
yeah.
stroke
No,
of
it's a
it,
good
but
answer, then,
but yeah, I
'cause
tend to
didn't
like,
specify.
yeah, I tend to like that, and all the like the snowboard events,
Yeah.
because I like snowboarding too. I haven't been able to go out. I don't really trust myself anymore. It's been a few years since I've gone, and now I feel like since I'm working all the time, if I fall and break my wrist, that'll be I'm out of a job. See you later.
Yeah.
So I like watching the snowboarding events too, but yeah, I mean it's a super broad stroke, but because I'm not particularly a sports guy, that's kind of where I have to draw.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer. Gig wise, you do a ton of gigs now. You're doing probably 20 a month, anyways,
about
right?
that, yeah.
And so that's on your website as well, or on your Instagram.
Yeah, I try to
you
keep
can
up
find.
there with
Yeah.
the artists I play with. I play with a few artists in the valley here, like Colmont, and from time to time I'll play with Ryan McAllister, Greg Neufeld, and
Yeah.
I'm always out looking for more gigs to just kind of play alongside
Yeah.
singer-songwriters
Right,
and
so
other
it's
bands.
not always
so-
you being the front man.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just doing your guitar thing.
Exactly.
Do you
So
enjoy that more
I
sometimes?
do enjoy
Yeah.
that more, I think.
You're such a good guitar player. I've determined in the next few years to learn how to play a couple guitar solos so I can
Oh,
add
man.
it into my repertoire.
Yeah.
So I love, and I can appreciate that because being able to wail on a guitar like that must be so fun.
Oh, it's fun. I mean, it's that whole like conveying the emotion without saying the words is the biggest.
Yeah, cool.
Like it's a pleaser, right? It's one of those like self-satisfaction, like, oh, I got it across without actually having to have imagery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what you're always seeking, I think, in terms of myself anyways. That's what I'm always seeking, is being able to convey that emotion and do the song justice from behind the scenes. So, with the pedal steel or with the electric guitar or with bass or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool. So you guys can check that out on his website or Instagram or whatever. Find a place to go check Kyler out. Listen to some of his music. New stuff coming out hopefully soon. We're going to do a live tune.
Cool.
Have you decided in your head which one you want to do?
Yeah.
Put
I'm
you on the
gonna
spot so
do-
we can talk about it a little
I
bit.
think I'm gonna do a tune. It's kind of, I think it's still kind of a working title, but I've been calling it "If I Saw Ya."
Yeah.
And it's it's a tune I wrote a little while back. Obviously these songs have been sitting kind of in a vault for a while, but it was it's about kind of the changes that happened when I had to quit drinking and that sort of thing, and like the relationship that I kind of lit the fire underneath of and burned to the ground, and just kind of coping with that and finding ways to like express what was going on inside. And so it's kind of like it's, how do I explain? I guess it's kind of a call to like, would you notice if I changed my ways? Like would it even matter?
Yeah.
So
Are you still paying attention to me, kind of thing?
yeah.
Hopefully, we'll see, buddy. We'll get her back. Kyler Pierce, everybody. Thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having
Thanks
me.
for checking out another episode of the AC Show. We'll get this live performance set up, and it'll happen right after this black screen.
talk almost every night on the telephone. In the bedroom, on the phone, or in the hall. And you left your ring on the table by my bed. And the picture of us that you hung up on my wall. But if I changed, well, you wouldn't even know. And if I saw you, would you look at me the same? And if I call you to pray for my forgiveness, could you still love me? We used to talk for hours at night, my dear. All the plans we made to head out on the road. You said we'd drive for miles, but we got nowhere. So if you call to break my heart, make it slow and make it easy. Take it easy on me. And if I saw you, would you look at me the same? And if I call you to pray for my forgiveness, could you still love me? Could you still love me? But if I change, well, you wouldn't even know. And if I saw you, would you look at me the same? And if I call you to pray for my forgiveness, could you still love me? If I change, well, you wouldn't even know. And if I saw you, would you look at me the same? And if I call you to pray for my forgiveness, could you still love me? But if I change, you wouldn't even know. And if I saw you, would you look at me the same? And if I call you to pray for my forgiveness, could you still love me? Could you still love me? Could you still love me if I'm the one to blame?
Kyler J. Pierce,
All
everybody.
right.